What's your reaction when you hear the phrase, nothing is impossible with God? Well, for some, there might be an instant, yes, that's true. I believe it. For many, there is a pause or even a check in your spirit. We want to believe, but we hesitate. Why? Well, maybe we have a seemingly impossible situation in our life that we have not experienced the impossible yet. I remember a time in my life when in my head, I knew that nothing was impossible with God, but in my heart, I was struggling to believe it. We had gone through a year of loss, the death of my mother-in-law, our house was robbed, and my husband's job had come to an end due to cutbacks at his program at the hospital. We had purchased property to build a new home, and yet the future looked so uncertain. Nothing is impossible with God, right? We were holding on to that truth, but it was more like white knuckling it. Would God do it for us? Would he help us through our grief and our loss and provide for our future? Does he see our nothing? Maybe you're there right now. It's a season of challenge, of loss, of change or uncertainty. Let me share with you truth, not just my truth, but the unshakable truth of who God is and his ability to do the impossible with our nothings. You know, when you look in the Bible at the story of Job, he experienced more suffering and loss than anyone could imagine, losing his children, all of his property, and his livelihood. Job cries out to God in Job chapter 9 and 10 by saying, I could only plead with my judge for mercy. He wishes he'd never been born. He admits his struggles and his doubts, and even in his anger at what is happening to him. Yet in the midst of all of this, he recognizes that nothing is impossible with God. Job says, God's wisdom is so deep. God's power so immense. He moves mountains before they know what's happened. He flips them on their heads on a whim. We'll never comprehend all the great things he does. His miracle surprises can't be counted. That's from the Message. You know, there is an extraordinary mixture here of honest struggle and faith. Job does not try and pretend that everything is all right or that he can explain it. Yet through it all, he clings to what he knows of God. God was able to do in Job's life what was impossible by human effort. God restored Job's fortunes and blessed the latter part of Job's life more than the first. Wow. Whatever struggles you are facing at the moment, however difficult life looks, however impossible the situation seems, it is important to remember his love for you and trust that with God, all things are possible. We see the mercy and kindness of God in our lives. As we sought to trust him in our future, he provided a new home, eventually a new job, and he was with us all through our grief. Because with God, all things are possible. That's courageous living.